So good to see you all. Welcome to our bi-monthly Eastside Wrap meeting. And so we have a couple of general announcements before we talk about neighborhood impacts. Just wanted to start by sharing my screen. So we're entering a new fiscal year, and so we've been renewing this whole project with the city, and so it's as good a time as any to just go over sort of what we're doing here. This is our East Side Wrap, where we discuss homelessness impacts in the East Side neighborhood. This is a chance for businesses, community members, and all of our nonprofit service providers to be here with the city to discuss impacts specific to our neighborhood here on the East Side. We also just want to remind everybody that these conversations can be hard, and a lot of emotions can come up because these are issues that can be really challenging for all of us as community members. So with that, we want to remind everyone that the language we use does matter. In all of our service providing communities, we try to push for people first language. So rather than referring to someone as homeless or as a homeless person, we refer to them as a person who's experiencing homelessness. We also just want to make a distinction here. There's some questions sometimes about whether it's better to use the term homeless or houseless, and we generally use the word homeless because it's more commonly used, but it is worth noting that for many of these individuals, they're really without a house. For many of these individuals, they would consider Santa Barbara their home, so they aren't technically homeless in that sense. Another thing to consider is just we are talking about a lot of individuals that may have mental health or substance abuse issues. And again, we want to keep thinking in terms of people first language. So how can we think about people with mental illness or people who may be going through trauma or experiencing a crisis, rather than saying a mentally ill person or a crazy person? There's a lot of language that we just want to keep reminding ourselves as we use it together. And then just a final reminder to everybody, and part of why we record these calls is that we're not trying to speak to just the people here, but anybody who might watch the YouTube recording afterwards. That this is not a monolith. There's not one specific type of person who's experiencing homelessness. There are so many different stories throughout our community, whether it's people who are experiencing homelessness chronically or people who are just experiencing it this month for the first time. And so we just want to keep that in mind with all these conversations. So just something to put in front of you as we start today. Any questions about that before we keep going? I see Al put in the chat, I like to use unhoused or unhoused individual. Yeah, I think that speaks to that distinction between a house and a home that we were talking about. All right, so with that, I don't know if Liz Adams or Chris want to make the announcement here.
Yeah, tomorrow, Saturday, July 15th, 9 to noon, we're going to be doing another community cleanup day. So we'll be meeting here at the PATH office on Kasike and going out and picking up trash. And then we will have refreshments if you come and join us.
Great. And I believe this is every third Saturday. So if my math is right, the next one should be August 19th.
Yes.
So we'll keep putting these in front of you all. All right, with that, we'll start with some updates from our service providers. So why don't we go to Al and CityNet? If you're able to come off mute, Al, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll circle back to Al. Why don't we go to Fernando with Good Samaritan? Are you there, Fernando?
Oh, I thought I was unmuted. I'm sorry, Landon.
Oh, no worries. There you go.
Yeah. No, I'm heading back to my office right now. So I'm actually I was just getting back from my vacation this month, and it's actually been a little tough week. I've had a loss at my property. One of my tenants had passed away, so I've been playing a little catch up still. So if you want, come back to me, and once I get to my office, I'll have all the updated information.
That sounds good. And it looks like Fernando, I'm not sure if you're there. I see you're rejoining the meeting.
there's that's the other Fernando with good
Got
San.
it. Okay.
We have two good San Fernandos now. But
Some two Fernandos. Do we want to add anybody else?
what was that?
Said we got two Liz's and two Fernandos. We need to add another person with the
Yeah,
same
double names, same names. One second, let me figure this out. You mind waiting? Sorry, we were fixing the echo.
All good.
But so updates from us. We don't have any specific updates to like the general area. But yesterday, a result from the neighborhood walk that we had, we were able to get someone back onto the train and head back home with SBAC's help, which was very nice. He had been stranded here and was camping out in front of the train station, and we sent him back to his house in Yosemite, which was kind of cool.
He's been here a whole month.
Yeah, he would have been here a whole month because he doesn't receive anything else aside from his SSI. So he had already run out of money, and he was just going to wait till next month. It was very nice. But as of, I don't know if you guys know, but we are now kind of fully staffed now. We've been focusing this last week and just training, a lot of trainings and stuff. So a lot of new people will be outreaching more areas.
Yeah, we're really happy to hear that. We did a neighborhood walk yesterday, and there were 4 Good Samaritan staff there. Well, 5, I guess, if you count the supervisor too. So more people in the streets. Odin, are you there and able to share from Path?
Gladly. Hi everyone, this is Odin the Path, Outreach Specialist. My updates are a little bit limited for today. I just got back from my 2-week-long vacation, so I just spent the last week now just trying to catch up, touching base with my existing clientele, and just picking up exactly where we left off. Pretty busy week for this week. I just, to say the least. When I got back, I got checked through the mail and saw a good 4 of my clients were granted eligibility appointments for the housing authority. So I've been, just scrambling to connect with them this week. So a lot of my time has been eaten up by just signing off on pre-screening packets and collecting the last little bits of the documentation before our housing appointments, which given the pretty quick turnaround time, we're going to be seeing a few, going to be going to a lot of appointments both next week, and I've already been to a couple this week, both touring a few facilities with the housing authority for some of my clients, and using my motivational interviewing tactics just to persuade them about whatever hesitation or any hesitancies that they might have with going into either a project or having some kind of, or transitioning from off the street and onto into housing, because a few of my especially elderly clients have not had housing for upwards of a decade. One of them hasn't been housed for 2 decades, and understandably, she had a lot of reservations, going into the appointment. But luckily, we managed to get her inside. She toured the facility, and she took a strong liking to Gardens on Hope in particular. So I'm hoping, we're just kind of waiting now with her, just having either an approval or a denial. We're just hoping for a move-in date, and once that happens, we'll provide her furnishings, get her indoors, and then I'll stick around for the next few weeks to make sure that she's transitioning well, and if possible, get her some kind of supportive services like an IHSS worker, just so that someone can, help her, with her daily upkeep and stuff like that. But besides that, really, it's just been scramble. So I wanted to give a big, I know they're not here, but I wanted to give a big shout out to the rescue mission um, for not only sheltering most of my clients, but also taking on a lot of the case management. Because I know there's only just one of me on the east side, but having that extra help here, really have that extra help here on the east side from the rescue mission now that they're hiring more case managers, it's just fantastic. I can't give them more thanks.
Thanks, Odin. That is a good reminder that we need to get the rescue mission case manager on one of these calls to introduce herself.
Definitely.
There's a good question from Natasha in the chat window about how you assist individuals with actually transitioning into just what it feels like to be a housed individual.
Sure. I guess there's a few surface level stuff, and then it goes a little bit deeper. Let's say you've been outside for a decade or so, you still have this survivalist mindset where you kind of carry everything on your back. You hoard it. Sometimes you have a hoarding tendency. Sometimes you still have, just elevated adrenaline. A lot of this time, you're not very trustful of people, not very, you don't really take into consideration other people's concerns, or having day-to-day responsibilities such as paying your rent, making sure that you have your electricity turned on, or running water, keeping yourself clean, that sort of thing. Just making sure that you're back, you're no longer having to fend, in this idea of having to fend for yourself, but you actually have a community here to help you out, and you've got your own place that's locked, safe. You can just feel a little bit more at ease with that. And I think having, these little things that we take for granted, and some things that are just completely, I suppose, second nature to us, are, lost when you're out on the streets for a decade or more. So just having that constant support of a caseworker that's familiar with them for a week or two, just so that they're transitioning well, is really goes the mile. Because the last thing we want is for them to be my client again. So once they're housed, we want to keep them in there for as long as possible, hopefully as a forever home.
I've heard anecdotally from a couple of people experiencing homelessness that actually the first couple of months of actually living in housing were the most challenging months of their lives, because all of the trauma and everything, it finally has time and space to come out. So we really appreciate you doing that transition work.
And some of them really do sink into like a deep depression. So having that, some kind of support system to refer them to mental health services after that as well, just really adds to the retentive factor. So, just being there for them and keeping that support system there and staying in contact.
Thanks, Odin.
Of course.
I see Deborah Hamrick just joined the call. Deborah, if you're with us, I don't know if you'd be able to share just an update from Safe Parking about the East Side.
Sure. We've got some couple of outreach big blocks of time scheduled for next week to kind of go back down. And I heard a rumor that De La Guerra might have some cars. The last couple of times I was there, we had successfully cleared them. But it's all, now that summer's there and school's out, I don't know if more people are attracted there. So next Thursday, for most of at least half the day, we'll be out in the field. So if anything is needed specifically, we'll be doing our basic, Waterfront and Dwight Murphy and Melpis and De La Guerra, and just the other park that's over there on Sola, and I forgot. So that's our schedule for next week. So if there's anywhere in the midst of all that anybody wants us to specifically hit, of course, Cacique, and I think everybody should be happy the blue van's gone. With these resiliency funds we have now too, we're just really able to help people get their vehicles registered and insured and their tickets paid and get them into safe parking. So, and if we find people who are from Carpinteria, we now have a lot there. So, we're just going to be out there just hitting the streets hard, especially with all the new funding coming out now. And that's it.
And Deborah, I've heard from Cassie Roach that Safe Parking is planning another annual kind of like early morning, late evening outreach because there are individuals that are hard to reach during the daytime business hours. So I think that one of the East Side areas that's a hot spot that'll be targeted is Dwight Murphy.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to hit Dwight Murphy by 7:30, and there are a few people there, but not as many as are reported. So we want to try, before my outreach out, who knows, many years ago, my outreach in that area was 6 a.m. and it was always very successful. Dwight Murphy on the waterfront and Cacique and all around over there. So yeah, so we're going to plan a early morning and a late night, which is, way past my bedtime. So I'm dreading that. But yeah, so any places you guys can think of that might benefit from that time being checked, just let us know.
Thanks, Deborah. And Al, I don't know if you're back in front of your computer. If not, we can come back to you.
Yeah, no, I'm actually available. So yeah, our team has been providing our usual outreach into areas of the waterfront, East Side Beach area, parks, and a lot of the time on Cacique, we were able to fill up our beds. We had 2 beds available for our county surf project in that area. So we were able to fill those beds up last week. We currently have 2 city beds available. We have been in contact with 2 individuals that we're looking to possibly get into that. One from actually the Shoreline Beach area, and one that had previously stayed at Path, but due to some behavior issues, wasn't able to continue to stay. But we have been in contact with Carmen in connection with that because he is an East Side individual that's been out there, and we are looking to get some. Path was open to discussion to see what what we're able to do to hopefully get this individual back in. But obviously there needs to be some changes and understanding of what's expected while staying at Path in order to have that opportunity. So we do have those 2 beds available, and there's a process of working on them with some individuals in that area. Along with just continued outreach and connection, we're happy to have Odin back. Obviously makes a huge difference with us and our team, and I completely love working with them and collaborating with all the areas on the East Side. We actually have one individual right now. That's why my team isn't on the call right now, at a housing appointment. So they weren't able to. They're with that client right now, working on that, and it is someone that we have been working with from the East Side. So, but other than that, yeah, like I did receive your email in regards to that. So hopefully we are able to get connected with that outreach with New Beginnings and SB Act and anyone else that's able to join us. Hopefully Thursday will end up working out because that is the one day that I have all a day and night team available. So we'll be able to get, I can flex their schedule during the morning in order to have them start at 6:30 to meet. I remember we were there last year. And then also we have the team that works till 10 p.m. So the 6:30 to 8 time doesn't, affect their schedules. So hopefully we're able to make that work. But of course, we'll do our best to, be as flexible as possible. But Thursdays are usually the best day for us since we have staff from the day to the nighttime. But if there are any questions, definitely I can answer them. But that's an update I have for you guys right now.
Al, I just want to add to your statement there real quick. I forgot about that. We have so many housing appointments. So if you text us or email us and we take most of the day to get back to you, you can only imagine with all the things that people are qualifying for right now. And some of our clients have been given 2 of the opportunities. And so we're just running around trying to get all those housing appointments taken care of and, just get more people off the streets. But that would be the reason this week and next week that we're a little delayed.
Absolutely. And for us, one thing I do have 3 positions that are going to be coming up, which one of them would be we lost one of Melissa, who's amazing on our PLHA team. She went up to Sacramento. It was a great opportunity. So she's still with the agency, but we will be filling her position along with I have a, housing authority, opportunity. So one of our staff members, is actually now at the new housing authority. So they were able to get one of our staff members, but that's how good, of a staff we have, is that other agencies see that, and I always support them when they have opportunity. But yeah, so you guys will see that. So if anyone, is interested, with SIGNET, those will be going up, I'm hoping by Monday. And they can, reach out and fill out that information, applications, and we'll be filling those positions. I feel pretty quickly. I'm confident in that, to join the team. So, but if you guys have any concerns, my number is available, and I will be around. I don't foresee a vacation till next month, so I'm happy to be back.
Glad to have you back. Thanks, Al.
And Landon, if you could just take a moment to provide context for these housing appointments. I just, the light at the end of the 2023-2024 tunnel was that we have a number of housing developments that are opening up. And they've accepted applications. The vetting process is pretty rigorous. And there's been a number of wait lists that open up, like Gardens of Hope and other locations. So the case managers are in the hustle right now, but in a very, very good way.
Thanks, Barbara. Okay, with that, we'll go ahead and open it up for any community member concerns.
This is Susie. I just want to again highlight the good work that everybody's doing. With the last 2 weeks have been positive, even though Odin was on vacation. So I appreciate that, and we do see action after hours. And being that me and my recruiter, we don't usually leave until 6:45 or 7. So there's a little bit of dodging that happens as we exit out. We did have someone come on site last week as far into the shop where we have the welders, and we did shoo them off. This individual is frequent around Cassique as well as on Quinientos. So, we had a manager, escort him off. But for the most part, the last 2 weeks have been very positive. So again, we're seeing forward progress, and I just want to acknowledge it does take a village, but we're all working together and we all have the same goals. So thank you.
Thank you, Susie. Appreciate the positive update too.
Can I just jump in until other people have time to gather their thoughts? Just wanted to give the group here a heads up that this week a group of city staff went on a driving tour of various neighborhoods throughout the city to look for areas that we think could use some improvements in terms of lighting, cleaning, or any other creative ideas to seek federal funding to try to do some improvements. And we did drive along Cassique in that area. So we're looking to see what funds we can apply for to do some improvements like lighting, sidewalk improvements and that sort. So we looked at actually quite a ways on Cassique, all the way up to Aliso. So just want to give everybody a heads up that we are looking at neighborhoods at a very ground level.
Great, thanks, Liz. Any others? See, thanks for getting the fence at 7-Eleven locked from Natasha.
We always have conversations about locks and doors and stuff and fences. I see Barbara and Joao both nodding like, yep, there's always something we're working on fixing. So letting us know whenever something like that is broken. Thank you. And we are aware, I think the fence behind the radio store, I always forget that name of that shop, was broken. We are aware of that and working with them, and I see Joao on meeting.
Yes, it's not broken. The locks have not arrived yet. Caltrans will have them up as soon as possible.
Okay.
But It's just that one gate. The rest of them do have the locks, and they will continue to add ornamental fence on their property along Milpas there.
Landon, I just wanted, if there's nothing else, just to take a brief moment of silence for a regular resident of the Eastside, Warren Murphy, who we lost to the streets this week. And I know some of us were very familiar with him and did our very best to engage, re-engage. And I know Path, he was a client for a number of times over the years as well. So, and yeah, just well known, and just wanted to take a moment to recognize that, you know, sometimes we have these circumstances where we lose someone despite our best efforts.
Now, why don't we just take a moment for Warren? Thank you. Any last thoughts before we close the meeting for community members?
Yeah, I had a couple of people here on Gutierrez near Milpas who are just not mentally there. And I honestly, I think that's beyond what Path would handle. What do you suggest we do? And then by the time the police came, you know, the one individual was gone, and I was just so tired of reporting that I just didn't even bother with the other, but I got a video. So what do you guys suggest?
Can you send me that video? If we have descriptions, we could always talk to behavioral wellness. I don't know if people here, the service providers, know who they are. We do recognize there are a number of individuals who are whose needs are greater than what can be provided by street outreach. And that's when we make referrals to behavioral wellness. And sometimes that requires a heavy dose of advocacy on our part. So if you could send me that, or through Landon, we can talk about that. We can case conference that.
Okay, I'll do that. Thanks, Liz.
Also put the behavioral wellness access line in the chat window here. That's another phone number that you can call directly if it's not like an immediate threat to themselves or others. If it is an immediate threat, or you have a sense of crisis about it, then it's a 911 call, and you would say you think it's a behavioral health concern.
Yeah, well, the one that I reported, I think it was whatever it was, Saturday night or Sunday night. It sounded like he was trying to come into my yard, you know, so I called the police. The other one was not a threat to, I think her, maybe not a threat to herself or anyone else, but you know, it's like, yeah, this isn't going to go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the instruction that we're always given is to ask for the co-response team. And they send out this specialized team for people that are experiencing mental distress.
Okay, so Landon, I'll get the video to you.
Okay.
Since I've got easy access to your email. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it. Fernando?
Yes, I just wanted to touch on that note. This is just to once again reintroduce myself. My supervisor's not in this meeting. She asked me to attend today. In that case, that there's ever someone in showing signs like that, just basically, if it's obviously, if you're in fear for yourself, 911. If not, to generate the co-response team. This is from Ted from Behavioral Wellness. He's directed me just call the non-emergency line for the police department, and basically just state your case, what's going on, what the individual's doing, and that's the way that the co-response will be generated. Typically with the 911 dispatch, that generates a different type of response. That'll be that way that's navigated and routed to the right individual. For the Santa Barbara County, if you're in sheriff's jurisdiction, typically it's more or less kind of a quicker response, just really goes kind of dependent on how available someone's able to get out to that situation. Because if you call the access line, that individual has to be ready to accept the services for themselves, which is quite challenging sometimes.
Thank you, Fernando. That is really helpful. I put the non-emergency phone number in the chat window as well.
Thank you.
All right. I really appreciate the discussion today, everyone. Let's go ahead and close the meeting for community members, and we'll wish you all a happy weekend, and hopefully some of you will be at the cleanup tomorrow at PAF. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.